If insisting worked, if explaining worked, if demanding worked, if loving more worked, your relationship would be better right now. But it isn't. And this is not an attack. It's an invitation to clarity, because there is a silent mistake that almost no one notices, yet it destroys relationships every single day, and the more you try to fix it, the worse it gets. You try to explain better. You try to be more understanding. You try to insist a little more. You try not to give up, and still, something is lost. The person pulls away. The connection grows cold. Respect fades. Desire disappears. And the most dangerous part, you start believing the problem is that you're not trying hard enough. But what if I told you the problem is exactly the opposite? That the more you try, the more you push them away. The Stoics explained this more than 2,000 years ago, and ignoring this truth comes at a very high emotional cost. Stay until the end of this video, because the final part may completely change the way you relate to anyone, in dating, marriage, or friendships. Now take a deep breath, and continue. The paradox of insisting there is a paradox few people see. Excessive effort destroys what you're trying to save. You insist because you care. You explain because you want to be understood. You demand because you want closeness. But in practice, the effect is the opposite. The more you try, the less you're heard, the less you're respected, the less you're desired. Why? Because human beings don't connect under pressure. They shut down. Insistence communicates something invisible, yet powerful: I'm afraid of losing you. And fear never creates attraction. Fear never creates respect. Fear never creates genuine choice. What started as love becomes anxiety. What was care becomes control. What was connection becomes tension. And this happens without shouting, without cheating, without dramatic scenes. It happens in silence. The Stoic rule that changes everything. The Stoics had a simple, brutally honest principle: the dichotomy of control. Everything in life falls into two categories: what depends on you. What does not you control? Your actions, your choices, your posture, your values, your boundaries, you do not control. Other people's feelings, other people's decisions, someone else's emotional timing, someone else's maturity. All unnecessary suffering is born when you try to control what is not in your hands. And in relationships, this attempt is devastating. Because insisting, explaining, and demanding are at their core attempts to control the outcome, to guarantee the other stays, to guarantee the other changes, to guarantee the other feels. But feelings don't obey force. Connection doesn't grow from pressure. When care turns into control, many people say, I only do this because I care. But Stoicism teaches something uncomfortable: not everything that looks like care is love. Sometimes it's fear. Fear of losing. Fear of being alone. Fear of not being chosen. And here is the painful truth. The other person feels it. Even if you never say a word. They feel it in your tone. In the subtle demands. In the insistence. In the energy. And no one feels free when they're being watched all the time. Love doesn't grow in environments of surveillance. It grows where there is choice. The trap of if I explain it better. There is a common illusion. If I can explain it better, they'll understand. But understanding is not the problem. The problem is trying to change someone who hasn't chosen to change. The more you explain, the more resistance you create, the less you're heard, the more you exhaust yourself. Because deep down, insisting communicates, you're not enough as you are, and that kills the bond. The Stoics knew this: no one changes under pressure. They change by internal decision. The attachment that sabotages you. Here comes another Stoic pillar: impermanence. Everything changes. Everything passes. Nothing is guaranteed. When you refuse to accept this, excessive attachment is born. And excessive attachment makes you over-explain, accept less than you deserve, insist beyond healthy limits, lose your own dignity. The Stoic understands: to love is not to lose yourself. Anyone who loses themselves to keep someone has already lost. The power of boundaries. Stoicism is not coldness. It is self-mastery. You don't control the other person, but you control how far you go. Boundaries are not punishment. They are self-respect. When you set clear boundaries, you say without words, I know who I am. I know what I accept. And that changes everything. Because boundaries create respect, security, truth. Without boundaries, there is no love. Only fear in disguise. The question that prevents 90% of conflicts before reacting. Ask yourself, is this under my control? If it isn't, let it go. Choose to act with character, not desperation. Prefer losing arguments to losing yourself. The Stoic prefers truth over the illusion of control. The final truth: when you stop trying to control the other person, two things can happen. Either they come closer by choice, or they move away due to incompatibility. And both outcomes are liberating. Because you no longer have to beg to be chosen. If this video helped you see something you couldn't see before, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave the word clarity in the comments. Here, we don't offer easy comfort. We offer truth. See you in the next video.